video is going to walk you through how to lock content from students. When I say lock content, that means that students are not able to move or manipulate the information. So, for example, right now, if a student was to have edit access to this slide, they would actually potentially be able to accidentally do that, right? And delete something we don't want them to delete. So I'm going to undo, because every mistake has an undo. And what I'm going to show you today is how to avoid things like that from happening. So what you're going to want to do is edit in what's called a master view. There's two ways I can access this. I can go to the slide tab here and then say edit master. And you'll notice the screen goes black here. And I have one master highlighted in orange here, which also has one highlighted in orange here. So that says that this layout that I have selected in my master view is the same layout being used in this slide. If I go here, you'll notice for my master that all of these slides and all of these slides now have that orange background or outline. And that is because anything I do here changes for every single slide and locks it in. And this is usually where I put my little information so people know who created my content. This is something you don't have to do with students. I usually only do it with PD. Now, if I don't want to go from slide to master, or I want to be done, there's one way I can get out of it is to click this little X. It's going to take me back to my regular slide view. If I'm like, oh no, I didn't want to do that, I'm going to go view is another way, and I click master. And you'll notice the same thing. So same slides are selected. I'm working in slides 8, which is this layout. Any changes I make here to this slide will then show automatically over here to this slide because it's using this particular layout. And again, anything I use in master changes, all of them. Now, I can also, to get out of my master view, just click over here in the slides and it's going to take me back in. So I am going to show you how to create some content. So we're going to go view master. That's usually the way that I go to master. And I like to create all my content actually from a blank template. That way I don't mess with anything I don't want to mess with. And you'll see I have one here that I have already created. Let's walk through how we did that. So if I want a blank template here, I'm going to click my last one. You'll see that. So I'm just going to delete that one. I'm going to click my last layout, and I know it's clicked because it's got this little blue outline. And I go up here to this plus sign where it says new layout. I'm going to click plus, and I'm going to have a blank one. And you're going to see right here, it now says custom layout at the top here. So everything I do here will not change anything on my current slides because I'm working off of a new layout that's not currently used. Now let's say I want to create that Venn diagram that we had just seen. So I'm going to go to my shapes. For Venn diagram, I'm going to use circles. And I'm just going to hold with one finger, drag with the other, and make it nice and large. I will then do my fill color as transparent. And then I usually like to thicken up the outside lines of my Venn diagram. So I already have one circle. I want my second circle to be exactly the same. So right now I have this shape highlighted. It's got this blue line all the way around it. Using my Chromebook, I'm going to do Control Duplicate. If you're on a MacBook, you can also copy paste. And then I'm going to move it over. And you'll notice how if I move it certain places, I get like these little red lines, right? So these little red lines are your alignment maps. So I want it to be aligned up right in the middle. So I'm going to move it around until I get it. So notice I have a line through the middle and a line on the side. So that tells me my spacing on that side to the end is the same as my other circle. And then the horizontal line through the middle tells me now we're lined up, we're centered. So I'm going to let go, and now it's moved. You'll notice I happened to just accidentally click there. This was a blank slide, and it automatically had a hidden text box. So I'm going to delete that because it's going to mess up my formatting. All right, so here's my basic Venn diagram, right? It's ready to go. And maybe I look at this and I go, you know what? This needs to be a little bigger. So I'm going to click this one, and I'm going to move it over some. And then I'm going to click this one and move it over some. And then maybe I feel like my proportions are more accurate. This is where you're looking into your proportions. So you can edit and change. You can use squares, circles, whatever shapes you want to create any sort of organizer through here. So I'm going to go ahead and add my titles though. And I'm just going to do that with a basic text box. So I'm going to click here for a text box. And I hold one finger and drag the size that I want my text box. So I'm going to do, what is something I can compare and contrast here? Why don't we do, you know what, for right now, I'm just going to do item 1. This is the first thing we're comparing and contrasting. I'm going to resize it just a little. And when all of it's highlighted like this, I like to just use my arrows and place it where I want. Now I'm going to duplicate this, Control D. You can also copy paste, but I like to do it like that so then my text boxes are exactly the same. So again, it's that consistency but like I said, that's with the text box, it really doesn't matter, but I like to do it that way. Especially if I'm going to outline my text box. These I'm not going to, but if I were going to provide an outline, that is what I would do. So notice here, I made sure that my text box was lined up precisely in the center. So now I have my Venn diagram set up. I have my titles of the information that I'm going to compare and contrast here. And let's say this slide is done. The rest of the work that I want students to do, they are going to need to manipulate. So I'm going to click outside the master view, and it's going to bring me here. I am then going to go down to my last one. I'm going to add my slide wherever it is I want on my presentation. It automatically adds a layout, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go layout, and I forgot to rename our master view. One that we did. So see how it says custom layout? There is a button that says rename. So let me show you that real quick. So view master. So we're going to go down. I'm going to find my Venn diagram that I did here, and then I'm going to click rename, and I'm going to rename my layout. And unfortunately, it does not save slide to slide. I'm hoping that is an upgrade that Google Classroom will come up with, or Google will come up with, but right now, unfortunately, it is not. So once we rename and save that, you're going to see that it no longer says custom layout 1 up here. It will then say Venn diagram. And that's how you will know it has saved. Yep. So now I'm going to go back down into my slide deck. Here's the slide I was working on that I added. I'm going to go to layout. And now you'll notice down here I have Venn diagram. And I'm going to click that. And my entire slide has now been adjusted to show my Venn diagram. Now you'll notice this is on every slide because I had done it in master view, right? So it's in every single slide. I cannot move or edit or change this unless I'm working on the master in the master view. And this, I can only edit or change this if I'm working in master view for the Venn diagram layout. No matter what I do here, nothing can change. So that's how you lock your content. Students can't access anything that you put onto a slide under master view. There's no editing, no moving, no accidental deleting, no changing anything. So this is where I would have you put the content that your students are going to manipulate. I'm going to show you a few different ways to do this. I'm going to first show you that I could use the text box here, and I could put in a word bank by adding text boxes. If I want to draw attention or color code in any way, I might use some sort of shape. And I could then color code by changing the fill color here. I could even insert an image by searching the web here. Yeah, similar was weird. So let's do birds. So maybe they're sorting, I don't know, sorting animals. So we're going to say birds. I'm just going to drag and drop. It's going to create my image here. Wow, that's big. So I'm going to go to the corner here where I have this little arrow, and I'm just going to bring it down. I'm going to make it small. And then I'm going to put that over here in my little bank for students to work on. Or I can even create an audio file that I then transform into an image. So if I go down here to the Finder view, I have what's the MP3, Chrome MP3 recorder. You have it on yours. You may need to click this little arrow up and kind of go through the pages to find it. So I'm going to go Chrome MP3 recorder. It's going to be really simple. You just press the red button. Birds. I'm going to stop my recording because that is my recording there. I want to save this in Drive, not to my computer. And the reason why I want to do that is because that's the only way I can actually insert the audio. So I'm going to make sure it's saved in Drive. And once I save that, I can close this out. I'm going to go Insert Audio. And this is something where, you could have students where they match an audio file to a picture, or you can do what I'm going to show you now. So there's a lot of possibilities with it. I'm just waiting for it to load. It takes a little bit to refresh with your newest file. So let's see. Okay, there it is. So birds. I'm going to click it and then select. It's going to put a little speaker icon on my slide. I could choose to leave this speaker icon. I could have students do a matching activity, like I said, where they have to listen and then match to the picture or match to the word. Or I'm going to click this out. I'm just going to leave that as it is, where it's going to play on click. I hardly ever change anything here. So click here. Or I can have where students can see an image, hear what it is, and then have to match the word. So I'm going to go 2-finger click, replace image, search the web. When I replace images, I like to use transparent backgrounds. Those are birds. Okay, let's do this one. Now, can we find a better one? Oh, you can kind of search through. That one's not transparent, so I don't know why that one came up. So being careful, making sure that the images you choose are transparent, but just know that if you make a mistake and the image isn't the one you want, you can always change it out. So I'll just select this one, and I'm going to say replace. And you're going to see that my speaker changes into a picture of the bird. So now I can adjust the size, move this over here, and then when students click here, they can then listen. Birds. And now they have a visual and audio reference for the word. And like I said, this could be used for many different things. It could be used for matching activities, for sorting activities, drag and drops, Venn diagrams. and the options are really kind of limitless here. So my challenge to anyone who would like to accept it today is to create content on a locked slide that requires student manipulation in some way. I will say this, if you want students to type somewhere, this is where you enter then your text box. And I usually put something like this. Oh, can't type today. That way they can see, but you would have to show them they have to delete this. If you don't want to do that, if you think that'll be confusing, then you can go up here and you can actually change your border color. I'll go purple. And the border thickness. And you can say in the outlined purple box, I want you to type your responses. So then they can type. So keeping in mind that if you want them to type anywhere, the text boxes are not already there. So you do want to still provide that text box for them. It is more difficult for them to include their own text box and then try to resize it. So always try and provide that little bit of accommodation for them. And I hope this helped. I know this was a lot of information in this video. In fact, it is really long, so I apologize for that. If you stayed with me the whole time, congratulations. And good luck. I hope you try this. If students really like working with this, I find it especially helpful in math because you can lock out your problem. You can highlight where the answers need to be, and then all you provide them is a text box for them to input their responses. So then they're not messing up any formulas and equations. And I really like the fact that we can attach audio to images. I think that's a huge accessibility feature for our students. And I look forward to seeing and hearing how you're going to use this. And if you create one, please let me know because I love to see what everyone's coming up with and new ideas in regards to providing interactive content on Google Slides to help engage our students.